Hello everyone and welcome to Video Games and Coffee. I'm your host Daniel, and today let's talk about a game released in 2017. This one is different. It's not open world. It's not combat heavy. In fact, there's no combat at all. It's a supernatural mystery game that bleeds wit, is intelligently written, very smart and mature humor, and is just so likable. It's a pixel art game that's one step up in detail from the original Leisure Suit Larry game. But after playing it, it is no surprise that it has unbelievable marks across the board. Today, let's talk about a game where the lead character is a perfect blend of John Constantine and Chevy Chase, and his buddy sidekick is more like Barney Fife. Let's talk about the Darkside Detective. All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to my returning listeners. Welcome to any new listeners. This is Video Games and Coffee. I am Daniel, and today I am excited to talk about the Darkside Detective. This is one of those games I picked up because I really like pixel art games. Maybe it's coming from up until later in my adult life, I never really had a computer that could run anything else that was that was very graphically demanding. So the pixel art stuff was really all I could run on the shitty PCs that I had. So that's why I have a love for it, and I'm very glad that the pixel art style of games is actually its own genre, because I think there's something very unique and very charming about it. Because I mean, face it, when you have games today that look like, shit like Elden Ring and fucking what else, Days Gone, that kind of stuff, it's fantastic to know that games that are basically just a bunch of blocky pixels can be so captivating because the gameplay is so good and the writing is so good. And the Darkside Detective delivers on both. I picked it up. It was like I do most of my games. I picked it up on sale. I saw people mention it online, and it was it's a mystery game. So I picked it up. Couldn't put it down. It is wonderful, and I don't know if I'm talking to the right audience for the pixel art game audience, but if you give it a try, I don't think you'll be disappointed. As long as you know what you're going into, don't think you're going to go into anything that's going to be super, mechanically and physically challenging. No, this is a very story-driven game, and it's wonderfully done. So it is, like I said, it's pixel art. It's heavy narrative driven, and it's a point and click. Actually, it started off as a computer game, a point and click adventure. However, I played it on the Nintendo Switch, which allows me to use the joysticks to move the cursor around, and the gameplay was actually just fine. I didn't mind it at all. It came out for Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, Google Stadia. I still to this day have no fucking idea how to pronounce it. Oh, dude, it even came out for the Atari VCS console that was released last year, 2021. I mean, at this point, shit, just release it for the Sega Genesis and the Neo Geo and the fucking Nokia 6110 cell phone. And make everyone forget about Snake and how it even existed. I mean, holy shit, that's pretty impressive. That's pretty awesome. So it was released in 2017, originally for Windows, Mac OS, and Linux. So strictly PC based. And then in 2018, it came out for the Switch. 2021, PlayStation, Xbox. Atari. I still can't. I can't believe it is. It is September of 2022, and I'm even talking about Atari, which is just awesome. That was actually my first game system, so I have a lot of love for it. But anyway, the developer they're called Spooky Doorway, which that's pretty baller. Yeah, they're an indie game developer based in, it's either Galway or Galway City, located on the west coast of Ireland. I always say that I love discovering small indie developers because they give you so many just I call them just underdog home runs, man. When a small group of people can deliver such a good game and in a well done game. I mean, geez, not just writing and gameplay. I mean, obviously that's important, but I mean, it's a good game. It's a stable game. It doesn't crash. There are no bugs in it. There are no areas where you get stuck. That kind of shit. It's very well made, and the group of people. They're only. I mean, when I went on their website, I only found 7 people, which I'll name off because they absolutely deserve the recognition for this game. So let's start it off with. Let's see here. I got my show notes here that I'm actually reading off of today. So number 1, okay, Paul Conway in charge of the art. The art's fantastic. It is pixel art, but the pixels are a little smaller. They're not too big. Okay, so you can still see some detail. So we're not talking about the days of like Excite Bike on Atari, but it is a pixel art game. None of the characters in the game have faces, which I thought was pretty cool. Obviously they have their own little style and design, but nobody has an actual face in the game. So they kind of all look like the fucking blank from Dick Tracy, if you remember that character. Just kind of like, poof, no face, just flat face, nothing there. If you remember from the movie, who was that played by? I mean, I'm assuming it was always played by Madonna, who was Breathless Mahoney in the movie. I mean, it could have been played by somebody else because, I mean, you couldn't, I mean, let's face it, you couldn't really tell. It's just a character with no face, but it was revealed to be Breathless Mahoney at the end. But yeah, everybody looks like that dude from Dick Tracy. Dave McCabe, he did the writing. He's the guy with the big red beard, if you've ever seen photos of the team. And Dave, if you are listening, you, my friend, are funny as shit because not only is the writing fantastic, but the humor is exceptional. And I'll share some tidbits later when it comes to the humor with all of you. Let's see, Teresa McCabe. She's listed as being in development. So I'm I guess husband and wife, brother, sister. I'm not really sure. But let's see. Okay, so I guess that's the main team. These are the team of 3 developers. I guess like the core team of Spooky Doorway. This next section, listed as friends who helped make the Darkside Detective what it is today. That's what it says on the website. Number 1, Ben Marquez Keenan. He's listed as being as part of the dev team. Robert Megan, QA and development. Ben Prunty did the music for the Darkside Detective. The music is awesome. I always talk about it, but it 100% fits this game, the mood, the style, everything. The music is great. And of course, I got the soundtrack. Now, Thomas O'Boyle also did the music, but he did the music for the Darkside Detective, A Fumble in the Dark, which I think is a sequel. I'm not sure. I have not played it yet. It is a separate game, and I don't know if it's a continuance or if it has anything to do with the first game or if it's connected in any way. But so there were 2 different people that, and I own A Fumble in the Dark also, and the music is really, really good too. So I'm not sure why Ben Prunty did the first one and Thomas O'Boyle did the second one, but either way, they were awesome. The music is really, really good. So you can visit darksidedetective.com. Which is just absolutely cute is the whole dev team is listed there, and they have these wonderful pixel portraits for each of the individuals that I just named off, just in case you ever wanted to recognize them on the street, right? But it's a very cute, charming little website. Obviously, they seem like a very tight team, and they're very passionate about what they do, and they delivered in a big way because the game is wonderful. Now, the publisher, Akupara. I mean, there's so many things that I can't pronounce in every single episode. I mean, it's almost a miracle I made it through high school English. I just don't understand why I have such a difficult time pronouncing this shit. Maybe I'm just I'm not confident enough that I'm going to say it correctly, so I always apologize ahead of time, and it makes me seem very insecure. But let's go with Akupara Games. All right, Akupara Games, based in Los Angeles, California. Now, the game itself, it's set in the fictional city of Twin Lakes, which supernatural mystery. I'm getting a Twin Peaks vibe here, but stay with me. It's awesome. Many supernatural occurrences from the city's spirit world, known as the Darkside, happen. So apparently, Twin Lakes' sister city is the spirit shitty version of it that is called the Darkside. That's when apparently this alternate world bleeds over and causes the weirdest shit to happen, and that's what our heroes here have to deal with. So to help with said weird shit are Detective Francis McQueen and his partner, Officer Patrick Dooley of the Darkside Division, a division of the city's police department who handle all of their supernatural cases. Personally, I love the main character's name because I'm a Steve McQueen super fan, and my favorite Steve McQueen movie is Bullet, in which he plays a character named Frank Bullet. So, Steve McQueen, Frank Bullet, Francis McQueen. That is so awesome. Now, I don't know if this was intentional, but hats off to the folks at Spooky Doorway regardless, because I picked up on that if it was. I love that so much. Now, there are other characters in the game, but this is a game that's all based on a number of episodes. So it's not just one long game with one long story. You play through each episode, and each episode has a different plot and different theme. So the other characters don't really jump from one episode to another. There is one, I think it's like this lady or something, that I think they mentioned, like, oh my God, weren't you in such and such? I think she was in a previous episode and she appears in another one. But other than that, all the other characters kind of stick to their own episodes. So let's talk about the actual gameplay and the game mechanics. As I mentioned, it is a point and click, but you can also use controllers. Joysticks work just fine in this particular point and click adventure. I've played point and click games with controllers before that drove me absolutely crazy because it took forever for the cursor to go from one end of the screen to the other. But I played this on the Nintendo Switch, and you can use the Joy-Con controller just fine. You can also use the touchscreen and just tap the screen if that's what you want. Although, I'll be honest, using the controller, and I would assume a mouse as well on PC, gives you a slight advantage, because as soon as you move the cursor over an object or a person, it labels it, indicating you can interact with it. If you move it over an object or a person that no label comes up for it, then that means you can't interact with it. So it's kind of a cheat, but at least you know. So, as an example, if you move the cursor over bookshelf, it'll say bookshelf. But if you move the cursor over the, if you can interact with the bookshelf, if you move it over, let's say a chandelier, then nothing comes up when you put the cursor on it. That means you cannot interact with it. So you do get a bit of advantage when you use the actual controller. And it is broken up into multiple episodes. They're not extremely challenging. Although each episode does have some kind of puzzle toward the end of it, at the absolute most, it may have taken me no more than 5 tries to solve one of the puzzles. They're nothing that's going to make you rage quit, but they're not extremely simple either. It does add a bit of fun to the game because the majority of the game, you're going around, you're interacting with, as I mentioned, objects and people. You get to collect some things as well, and then you get to combine some stuff. If two things are supposed to be combined together, that kind of progresses you further, that kind of deal. So adding the puzzle toward the end of the episode, it does add a bit of variety, and it was a welcome addition to it. And that's my personal opinion. Some people hate puzzles; they just want to blow through the game and just get through the story, and that's fine. But I didn't mind the challenge that the puzzles gave me. But yeah, so usually toward the end, there's something you got to do that'll take you, 2, 3, 4 tries or something like that. If you ever watched Double Dare in the 1990s, like the rest of us cool kids, think of the puzzle at the as the episode's physical challenge. That's really the only thing that you have to really think hard on. So, I don't know. Most of you aren't going to know what Double Dare is, so just fucking forget what I just said. So the theme of the game is obviously supernatural mystery type of deal. It's not horror at all. It's just, it's weird shit, ghosts and fucking creatures and that kind of stuff. But the theme of the friendship of Detective McQueen and Officer Dooley, it has its own theme. And let's just say that Detective McQueen is the glue that holds this best friendship together. From what I can tell, like I said, from all the pixels they used, it's hard to tell, but it seems that... Okay, so Detective McQueen just looks like your average guy with a average fucking, $10 Supercuts haircut. He wears a long brown coat, like a brown trench coat. He looks like an actual early 1900s private eye kind of deal. Now, Officer Dooley he's wearing his blues. He's a full-on police officer outfit, complete with the little blue cap. And although he's got some guns on him, I think, because he has... they're either short sleeve uniform tops, or he rolls those bitches up to leave a little breathing room for those pythons. But if he's supposed to be the physical muscle of it, which, I mean, he never does anything that requires him to fucking, you're not going to see him and Detective McQueen do the all right, I'm going to take you back to the 80s here with a Predator, okay? Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers. Remember in the beginning? They meet up. Carl Weathers says something, and Schwarzenegger turns around. He's like, "Dylan, you son of a bitch!" And then they shake hands in a way that no two men would ever shake hands, ever, because they do so in a way. It's kind of like this fucking power grip, and biceps are bulging, and it's a miracle that there wasn't an explosion afterwards. So, I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this, but I guess I just wanted to talk about the Predator. So he's definitely the gun show of this group here, but absolutely no brains. There's nothing between his two ears, unfortunately. Detective McQueen, he's the mind. He's like I said, he's the glue here. So we got to count on him to solve the case and get past to the next episode. But it is a very cutesy buddy cop relationship between McQueen and Dooley. In fact, there's a couple of times in the game that they refer to each other as best friends, and I love that. I love that character development, and it really helps you as the player think, like, why should I care about this game, and why should I care about these characters? Well, it's because of writing like that you do care about it. And like I said before, the writing is fantastic. Now, let me just read you. I'm gonna fire up my Switch here. Let me just read you some of these episode names. All right, here we go. I'm at the screen here. Twin Lakes Police System, Case Files, All right, episode 1, Malice in Wonderland. 2, Tome Alone. 3, Disorient Express. Number 4, Police Farce. Number 5, Loch Mess. Number 6, Dawn of the Dead. Episode 7, Die Hard. That's awesome. Number 8, Poltergeist. Guys, spelled Guys. Number 9, Bates Motel, spelled Baits. I mean, come on, people. You may think that sounds cheesy, but that's the kind of humor that hooks me in. I looked at these episodes, and you can actually go through them in any particular order. You don't have to. Episodes, you have 6 core episodes, and episodes 7, 8, and 9 are bonus episodes. So you actually have to do 1 through 6 in no particular order, but you have to, if I remember correctly, you do have to beat those levels, get past them to unlock the bonus episodes. So right now, I did them all besides episode 7, which is Die Hard. And I just now put 2 and 2 together here. So Die Hard is set during Christmas. Die Hard is set during Christmas. I'm telling you, these folks at Spooky Door, I sound excited because I am. I love this shit. I've been talking about games this whole time that are like, oh my God, they sink money into it, and the time, and to make it look so real. And this is a pixel art game with writing and humor that's so good that I get excited, just excited, if not more so, than the previous games that I covered. And I really appreciate developers and writers that can do that. So if you can pick this up, even if you don't get it on sale, just buy it, try it out. The fact that you can go episode by episode, and I can't really remember how long it takes me to get through an episode, because I really play this. I tend to play any handheld stuff like on my Switch or now my Steam Deck before bedtime, and I fall asleep very easily in about 33 seconds. So sometimes it takes me a few days to get through one episode, but I mean, I'll just say it, no more than an hour, I would say. I mean, geez, especially if you're wide awake during the day, unlike me at night in bed on my stomach and falling asleep like a little baby. I wouldn't think that an episode lasts more than an hour. So let's go maybe 30 to 45 minutes. Now, I had mentioned that I was going to cover, kind of give an example of the humor in the game. And I actually, this is how funny this is probably going to make me seem so lame with what I think is funny. What I think is funny is not what a lot of people who are quite a bit younger than me think is funny. I'm 38. I was born in 1984, so I grew up with Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, Steve Martin. I mean, watching shit like The Three Amigos, Coming to America, Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder. Oh my God, those two in Stir Crazy. That's the kind of shit I think is funny. Clever writing, where the delivery is not just in the voice, but also in the expression. And I find that to be a very, very mature, very grown up kind of comedy. And it's very different. A comedy, I find, it's not cyclical at all. I don't think it ages well. I mean, think about it. You're not going to go to a showing of, unfortunately, the genius, Charlie Chaplin, and people are going to think that's fantastic. I mean, they're not going to, laugh their asses off. But, comparing to today's comedy, although a lot of us can appreciate what went into it, same thing with the Three Stooges, for example. And, it is sad to see a lot of what I consider the kings, during when I was a kid, kind of phasing out. But so some of the comedy in this I think is very funny. So I actually took screenshots, which I love the little screenshot button on the Switch. It's very convenient to go back. And all right, so I'm gonna read a few off here. So, boy, if this is uninteresting, tune out now, folks. But all right, here it is. So Detective McQueen is talking to a bunch of fucking scouts here, like Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, or whatever, and he's looking for Dooley, who went missing in this particular episode. And so here it is. The conversation's picked up. Detective McQueen says, "I meant a friend of mine has gone missing." And the lady says, "Oh, of course, sure, I knew that. What do they look like?" And Detective McQueen says, "He's similar to me, but about 20 more pixels." This is like, see, I find that hilarious because it's kind of, it's kind of breaking the fourth wall here in a way. In fact, I laughed through this game, and my wife is just like, "What are you laughing at?" And I would tell her, and sometimes I wouldn't even get a response because it's so lame. But let's move on to let's move on to another one. All right, this is another detective in the police station who's a total douchebag. All right, he's got like the pixels tell me that he has a pompadour and a fucking awesome mustache, like very Tom Selleck like. This one's Detective. This is one, oh my God. All right, just the name itself is funny, okay? Because you have Detective McQueen, right? This douchebag is Detective McKing. Oh my God. All right, so here. Detective McKing says, "I love a good riot. Nothing makes me happier than to get some baton swinging practice in." I am so sorry if this is the part of the episode where it makes you want to turn it off. But you know what? I'm already pretty much knee deep in this. I'm gonna keep going. Okay, here. Let's find another one here. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Officer Dooley says, "Have you ever noticed that the moon is always full in Twin Lakes?" Detective McQueen says, "It's cheaper to reuse assets, I guess." And of course, that's the developers, telling you that shit. And they're speaking to us through these two dudes. And that's fantastic. And just for those of you that don't know what assets are, game assets is basically everything that makes up the game. Textures, clips, like audio clips, anything that you hear in the game, anything that you see in the game, those are all considered assets. So just a little tidbit in case you didn't know what that means. Let me see. I'm gonna give you guys one more here, okay? Because this is probably painful to everyone and not what you want to be doing, especially if you live in the United States. We have a 3-day weekend. You're probably trying to, recover from the festivities, and here I am reading off video game humor to you. All right, let's see here. All right. Officer Dooley says, "You said a Don owned this place? Like a mafia Don?" Detective McQueen, "Yep, one of the most feared men in the country, Al Capone." He terrorized people for all sorts of things, but we could never prove any of it. And then there's in parentheses it says, any resemblance to persons living or dead are purely coincidental. And Officer Dooley says, "What got him in the end?" And Detective McQueen says, "Tax evasion. He swerved to avoid a truck of thumbtacks, and we got him on a dangerous driving charges." So I love that because it's a whole play on the reason Al Capone got caught for tax evasion. So I know I'm killing this episode reading this shit off, so I'm very sorry. But that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, and that's what I love about Spooky Doorway and what they did here. And I'm gonna finish the last episode, which was Die Hard, and I'm telling you, if it's called Die Hard, it's set at Christmas. If there is not a Die Hard reference in there, I will be extremely surprised. So if I remember, and if I do an episode covering the sequel, A Fumble in the Dark, then I will let you know how the end of Die Hard goes. But I hope that you enjoyed this episode. It was a bit different. It's definitely a little more laid back. And I really enjoyed it. It's currently right now, it's Sunday night. It is September 4th, Sunday night. I'm sitting in the basement by myself while my family's asleep, as usual, talking to all of you about shit that I really like and that I think is funny and that I think you should try. But hey, I hope I was able to get the message across on what the Darkside Detective is and what you should expect. I always do like an intro where I explain from kind of like when you first start the game and, a few, 5 to 10 minutes in, kind of what it is for you guys and girls to know what to expect and help you make the decision. Do you want to spend the money on it? Do you want to try it or not? In this case, you can't really do that because it's a bunch of episodes and it's not one main story. But I hope that explaining the feel of the game and going through some of its humor, I hope that helped you make a decision. If it's not for you, totally cool. I understand. Sometimes I'm not in a mood for point and click games. If that's how you are and you're currently having the itch and you don't know what to try out there, I highly recommend you give the Darkside Detective a shot because I loved it. I really enjoyed it. And it plays great. I mean, if it played great on the Switch, then it's going to play wonderful on any platform. And I can almost guarantee you that the the graphics won't fucking matter. Doesn't matter what video card you got or what system you got. It's all going to look the same. But hey, thank you very much for making it this far. Holy shit, I am 32 minutes in before editing. And by the time my theme music stops, we're probably going to be at the 33 to 34 minute mark. So thank you very much for joining me today. Thank you for making it this far. And I hope you enjoyed it. And everybody have fun, be safe, be good to each other. And I'll talk to all of you next time.